Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SoCal Summer Swing Out podcast. I'm your host, Andry, and I am joined by one of my favorite people in the world, Amylene Cabrera.
Woo! Yeah.
If you're not on video, she has this really awesome background that screams her personality. A bunch of cats and a little meme. So, Amy, hi.
Hello.
How
How's
are you?
I'm doing good.
We haven't even said anything. We're already laughing. Okay. Well, let's start
Sounds
out
like our
nice.
practices, bro.
I know. I know. We'll probably get to that later. But for those of you who don't know, and Amy and I practice, it literally just sounds like we're goofing off the entire time. But more on that later. For now, for those of you who don't know, this is Amy. She's one of my dance partners. I'll let you go ahead and give a spiel about yourself and how you found dancing.
Cool. So yes, my name's Amy, and um I do swing dancing. Some other things I do, I teach math, and I teach it to high schoolers. Right now I'm teaching data science, which is super fun. Yeah, I enjoy singing and songwriting and like casually playing guitar. I like sushi and salmon and boba. Um, yes, I found dancing through the UCI Swing Club
Mm-hmm.
in late 2015, early 2016, and it was a total accident. And I thought it would just be a passing hobby, but I am here now,
You are here
and
now.
7 years later.
Dang. Yeah, and you said you found it on accident? How did that happen?
Yeah, I totally found it on accident. Actually, so like it's a two-part kind of memory. The first memory is being at the involvement fair at UCI,
Uh-huh.
and I was actually heading towards um the open mic booth
Mm-hmm.
where oh gosh, I think it's called Open Jam was the club that I was interested in,
Mm-hmm.
because I mentioned I like singing and songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
And right next to it, uh a now friend of mine named Sang was like eating French fries and just like trying to make eye contact with random people. And I was one of them that he made eye contact with, and I was like, oh God, let me just keep walking towards the booth that I was going. And so I never went to the UCI swing booth that day. But then I think a couple of maybe the following week,
Uh-huh.
I got out of a class that was in the computer science building,
Uh-huh.
and then I heard music, and I was like, oh, I think that's where like that guy who was eating French fries is at. And I just followed the music because I was like, I have literally nothing to do right now. I'll just like check it out.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then I joined the lesson, and then I kept going every single week.
Was was Blake there?
Uh, I think I met Blake at like some following meeting after. Like I do distinctly remember um one of my friends, Christine, also a teacher now and lives in
Mm-hmm.
Japan, really
Uh-huh.
great dancer. Um, she whispered to me when Blake came to one of the meetings because he would come to them often, but he wasn't
Yeah.
at the first one. Um, and she was like, "Hey, go dance with him. He's really good." And then I was like, I'm scared. But I think I did dance with him that day, and he was like a brilliant dancer, kept me dancing.
Wait, so like Blake was good even in 2015, or by that time was he doing the whole like going and taking privates from James all the time thing?
I don't know. The joke was though in college, like Blake spent more time at Atomic than he did on campus. Like that was, and I think that's how he got so good. I like recently um was listening to, I don't know what I was listening to, but the idea of just like putting 10,000 hours in and then you can get good at something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really think that's like, he's a really good epitome of that concept. He
Hmm.
just gets so good.
Yeah, that concept of get good. Ah, man, I forget who it was. I have this friend from Philly. Oh yeah, I have this friend from Philly. Her name is Lauren. I don't think you've met her, but you and her would get along so well. But she told me this quote that was like, if you want to get good, right? And that whole concept of putting in the effort to get good. I mean, that's gonna go into our topic of like our dance philosophy later on,
Yeah.
right? But to your back to your story. So you started dancing at UCI, and then you were at UCI, and then you moved down to San Diego, yeah, for teaching.
Yes. Yeah. I was at UCI. That's where I started dancing. And then eventually, I did most of my learning on campus actually in the club. I didn't really take a lot of classes
Mm-hmm.
at Atomic. I took a couple, but I did a lot of social dancing there. And
Mm-hmm.
then I got into volunteering at Strutter's Ball, where I met a lot of my friends nowadays. It's like
Uh-huh.
Jen,
Mm-hmm.
Julie Lynchtra, Lucas, Rachel, Howie. We all used to
Mm-hmm.
volunteer. Mishu. We all
Uh-huh.
volunteered at Strutters together. But yeah, so after college in 2019, I moved back to San Diego and I still went up dancing in Irvine.
Yeah, it's
After.
kind of well, before I go there, you mentioned this one weird human whose name is Mishu. Who the hell is that?
Oh yes. Mishu is a renowned doctor in physics who studies condensed condensed matter nanotech. Um, Let me pull up his LinkedIn.
No, bro. Okay.
um Phenomenal dancer, part of
Yeah.
the Phoenix dance scene nowadays, and um probably a pilot of the Balboa dance scene in
Mm.
Phoenix now.
Yeah, I should say that like Mishu, for those of you who don't know Mishu, the reason why we're cracking up is because Mishu is Amy's partner, like partner,
That he
you know?
is.
And we're laughing because he is a hoot. If anyone ever gets a chance to meet Mishu, it is amazing. Which, by the way, I do want to bring him on this podcast at some point. That would be a lot of fun.
That would be so much fun.
So you're
Love
gonna see him
chaos.
actually this what's today, the March 1st. You're gonna see him this
Tomorrow.
Saturday. Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ryan's gonna pick him up from the airport.
that's going to be amazing. And speaking of picking up people and from the airport and all that, so you, Jet, and Ryan. So for those of you who don't know, I mentioned Jet before in another podcast, but you, Jet, and Ryan are like the San Diego people that drive up almost weekly.
That is true. Yes.
That
Um
yeah, that's insane. Sorry, carry on.
no, I was just gonna say exactly what you're gonna say. I think we're all a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I'm very biased because I absolutely love you guys and having you all there. It's nice. It's like a foundation. I just like the San Diego people, you know?
we like you guys. That's why we come out.
I know, dude, it's so nice when you all come out. And so for those who don't know, that means Amy lives in San Diego. Well, yeah, in the San Diego area, and then they all drive up together to Atomic, which is in Orange County. And so from Atomic, they we hang out, we typically get food after, and then they'll drive back that same night on a Tuesday. And then Amy works at 7 a.m. On Wednesday or some crazy shit like that.
Yeah, ideally. Ideally I start at 7.
But you do have to like get to school the next day. It's not like you can take a break and whatnot, which
Yes.
I think that's awesome that you
Thank
all come out.
you.
Now that being said, I think that kind of falls into how you and I met last year in 2021, actually.
Yes. We met in like July, right? So
I believe
July.
so. Yeah, because I moved here in August and then I started coming out that I started dancing the second day I was there. I wasn't even fully moved in.
Wait, you moved in August. So it was August, not July.
Maybe. Yeah. No, you're right. It was July. I don't know. I just remember
Wait, I'm confused. Okay, yeah, yeah.
I just remember watching you dance. I'm like, oh man, she's really, really good. And then I saw you
No, you
legit,
didn't.
bro.
Yo.
I'm for real. And then
Oh,
I saw you talking to Mishu, and I was like, damn, that guy has really nice hair. It was in that bun, and I
oh
was like, damn.
yeah,
And I think that's when like I asked you to dance, and our that was the first time we did that thing where we went hoop pa pa, you
mm,
know. And
yeah,
so I think that's when I was like, okay, I think we have a really special dance connection here, you know.
yeah.
I think that's where we first met, and I was like, oh yeah. And then that falls into where we are now, you know.
That is a really special dance. It is also so memorable. I feel like we dance a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes, like, I mean, it's like really hard to like remember a dance. I feel like with
Mm-hmm.
just the amount of dancing that we do, but that is like a core memory for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, and Camp Hollywood, which we'll talk about here in a little bit too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because I think let's if I don't think we've ever broken it. No, we kind of broke it down, but I think the way that we listen to music is a huge part of why we dance so well together. You know,
Yeah, it's our roots.
I yeah, our roots 100%. The way that I describe it to people is Amy is my long lost sister from like way back when. And I said that before I found out that I was half Filipino through like the
It's
ancestry of
true.
me.
That's so crazy, dude.
And it was absolutely nuts. And so I think that plays a huge part into why we dance the way we dance. If you could describe like our dancing and our dance partnership, how would you describe it?
Ooh, this is a lot of a question actually.
Oh
Like I
yeah, it
feel
is pretty
like
deep.
but it's oh gosh. Okay, I feel like I could talk a lot about this, to be
Mm.
honest.
Yeah, let's do it.
Um we were just talking though about how we listen to music, and I
Yes.
think both of us prioritize kind of like that Frankie Manning like phenomena of like dancing is like a three-way. But I like, you know what I'm trying to say? Where it's like it's a relationship between your partner,
Yeah, the
the
music.
music,
Yeah.
yeah, and yourself, kind of,
Yeah.
right? I forgot what it was
Yeah.
like. Anyway.
No, yeah. No, I hear you. I hear
um,
you.
but I do think we like prioritize kind of like the spontaneity and the joy that comes from like creating something in collaboration with the music.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that is a big tenet of how we dance together, which is
Mm-hmm.
what sparked the partnership.
Yes.
Um, and then I think like when our it comes to our partnership itself, it's like also rooted in joy and
Mm.
like I think being present
Mm-hmm.
and like conscious of ourselves and the music and one another. Um and also I think taking care of one another in like
Mm.
a more than a um we are two dancers together kind of relationship, but like as like a friendship is
Yeah.
part of it. And when it comes to our dance philosophies, I feel like we align where we prioritize like joy
Mm-hmm.
again, that it has to be fun because this is the whole I think genesis of what swing dancing was
Mm-hmm.
being silly and like and having fun and being creative with music.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Dude,
yeah.
it's no surprise that I absolutely agree with you because I think even before we talked about it, we already like felt that the other felt that way about dancing, right? And how I think you explained it so well that it's rooted in joy and it has to be fun because there was someone else who I interviewed on this podcast named Nick. He'll probably be the later one, but he said social comes before the dancing, which is why I call it social dancing. And I always thought
That's
about that,
good.
like, oh, that's a social connection, and that social connection is rooted in that joy you have in each other, right? But let's dig into this a little bit more because I think we talked about our dance philosophy and then our partnership on how like we dance together, right? I'll say for me, when I dance with you, you do something that is so unique where I feel like you can hear my idea before it's present in my mind to do, you know? And I don't know how you do it because when I dance with some people, right? They'll be right there with me, but I feel like you're a step ahead and you can feel what I'm gonna do before you do it, and vice versa. I can hear you when you have an idea because when we're dancing and I miss something, I'm like, ah, I heard you. Fuck, I heard you. As in, like,
Yeah. No, but
yeah,
same. But same when I'm like, ah, shoot. Dude, that was a freaking good idea, dude. Like, and yeah.
yeah. And then those moments when we're both and we both hit it at the same time, like that. Those are like chef's kiss moments, you know?
Mhm. Yeah,
Because
that's
I
magic.
Yeah, because I remember the first time we did that CrossFit thing after that turn, then we did
Mm.
poof, pop, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds kind of weird when I try to describe it without the
I
poof,
can
pop.
literally see it in
Yeah,
my
but
head.
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like those moments, I don't know how, but you hear me, and when you want to do something, you change your connection without changing your connection. I don't know how you do that, but
I dude, I'm actually it's I think really incredible that you can sense that though, because I
mm,
don't know if like everybody can.
uh-huh,
And I think that's maybe something unique to our connection
uh-huh,
in a way too. But yeah, like I think you also are very what's really cool is you have this beautiful flexibility almost when it comes
mm,
to the dance where you're like I I want to take space and give space kind
mm,
of,
mhm, mhm, mhm.
which I think is really beautiful and you really are so intentional about that giving that space and
Yeah.
allowing for us to create something like um collaboratively.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, like I think um when it comes to your connection, you're just so clear and deliberate, and it's incredible that you can read mine. Like that blows my mind because I actually think like you saying that I think that you think I'm a step ahead. Like I feel that way about you also. So I don't know. It's
Damn. This is just becoming a let's gas each other up podcast.
yeah.
I just feel
Oh, let's do this again.
like yeah. Because like with you as well though, you also we were talking about like giving space and taking space. I feel like it's such a unique combination to be able to give space or to be able to take space as well as be in the space, you know?
Mhm.
It's like I feel like just doing the basic swing out or a side pass, I already know that that's the space that we're doing together, but I already know you're gonna take that and make that your own. You're not just gonna do like a triple step, or just the basic. You're gonna do something of your own voice in it, and then that like jazzes me up. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's keep going, and then it just builds.
Yeah,
Which is it's kind of dope. I lucked out with one of the best people in the world as my dance partner. Just saying.
bro. Hmm, false. I looked up.
Actually, this is a perfect segue into our dance partnership thruple.
Oh, it's not a
Yeah.
throuple.
Well, let's see. You have,
There's so many of
oh
us.
my gosh, it's
Yeah,
huge. Okay, so
yeah.
who are all your dance partners?
Um, so I don't really know.
Oh yeah, because I guess that conversation hasn't been fully had yet, huh?
I get well, okay, so like people I've competed with so far
Mm.
are you, Grant Wong, Jet, um wait, her last name's okay. I just totally
That's fine.
okay.
That's fine.
Jethro Fedelizo Antonio. I've also competed with Mishu.
Yeah.
And Patrick Stefanoff,
Mm-hmm.
I just competed with, and I'm so lucky that I got to because now he is going to Open Bow.
Open
This
bow.
amazing man, hardworking man.
Dude. He is,
Um,
yes.
yeah, I am just grateful that he let me compete with.
Bro. He's,
um,
yeah. No, just to mention, you're an amazing bell dancer, right? I know you're being like, oh, like all that, but you are.
oh,
I will admit I am biased because I just love the way you dance, period. But you're an amazing bell dancer, and your spins, Amy. You've been working on your spins.
thanks, fam. I'm a Yeah, I'm unbalanced everywhere else in my life. Got to put all the balance in. I'm putting all my stats in my in my dance spins.
Okay. Well, yeah, you mentioned Patrick. Is there anyone else you competed with?
um, I would say I haven't competed with Ryan Garcia yet, but
Mm,
we have taught classes together,
hmm.
and I do think that is like a notable and influence and relationship that I have like dance wise.
Yes.
He's my
Yeah.
little brother.
That's right. He's the youngest. We have this
Yeah.
little joke that it's the four of us. There's Jet, who's the oldest, and then there's
Jet's the
me.
mom.
Yeah, and then I'm the dad. and then
She's the dad.
and then there's Amy and then Ryan, because Ryan's the youngest.
Yeah.
Actually, we should talk about like the boat trip.
Oh yeah, yeah. That would be great.
So Amy Amy and I taught a workshop to some phenomenal people. Shout out to the Lindy Groovers, like Zach,
Yeah.
Marco, that whole crew,
That was
right?
so
Because we did,
fun.
yeah, they are a vibe. They are a
Mm-hmm.
vibe. But we did a workshop for them, and then I asked Jet, Amy, and Ryan to come up so that Amy doesn't have to drive up by herself, right?
I'm a
And we just
passenger princess.
passenger princess all the way. And then we decided to stay at an Airbnb, right? But I was like, yo, since you guys are coming up, let me get the Airbnb. And we were like, why not get an Airbnb on a boat? Um, it was an interesting experience, to say the
Air
least.
boat and breakfast. It was
Er,
honestly such a good memory for me.
I agree.
Yeah.
It was pretty fucking fun, and we laugh about it because well, the whole weekend was great because we did karaoke. We went out, Benny, Bianca, Melissa, and all of them. It was so fun. Um, but it was really cool because the family thing came into play when we were all sleeping. Everyone was supposed to sleep in their own little section,
Little
but for some
quarter.
reason, own quarter. But for some reason, all four of us ended up on one section. But I was at the end, and then there was Jet, and then there was Ryan, and then Amy was at the very end. And I swear, you and Ryan were bickering like kids because you kept on like poking each other. And then Jet was like, "Don't make me and your mom go back." Core memory right there. Oh yeah, and we did
It's so good.
whatchamacallit. What did we do with Jet? What did
Oh
Jet do?
yeah, so Jet is a Dungeons and Dragons player, and he is also a dungeon master. So he
Oh
like runs campaigns and kind of creates these like different worlds and tales and guides players through it. So he did a one shot with um me, Ryan, and Andry on this boat, and it was great. It was boat themed.
yeah,
I we went to Madagascar.
we
we
did. We did.
we went to the island of the Philippines in Madagascar.
It was very on brand for where we were at the time, which
Yeah.
is pretty darn cool. But yes, how did we get on this topic, bro? Uh
Um
oh yeah, we talking
we're
about
talking
like
about Ryan. I think we're talking about Ryan.
Ryan, yeah,
Yeah.
and how we were like a family and stuff. Because yes, partnership wise, you do practice and dance a lot with him. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I feel like partnership. I don't really know if the partnership. I don't know how that works. I full on asked you. I was like, hey, do you want to become dance partners and teach
Yeah.
and compete together? And then you, by thank you, almost for God, said yes to that crazy
Bro,
request. you know?
Wait, actually, while we're on this topic, I really need to thank you for that because
Oh,
yeah, no, and this is funny because like with Jet, we had been carpooling up to Atomic for a long time prior,
yeah.
and both of us were in this space where we're really happy social dancing and like,
Mm,
just competitions weren't kind of on our radar
yeah.
and stuff. Um, and then I think I really wouldn't have gotten into the sphere of competing if it weren't for you asking in the first place. And it has opened up like so many like just not doors, but I guess like ways for me to engage with the dance on a deeper level.
Mm,
And I think it also kind of opened um like this space of motivation for me to like
mm,
to grow better and to it gives like the parameters for me to
mm-hmm,
like focus on a certain thing
mm-hmm.
in order to grow and be a better dancer. So, and the
Aw.
community, dude, you're just such a good community builder and the support. So, if you ever go and if you ever go and watch the amateur Lindy strictly from this past year's Camp Hollywood, there is a moment where Jonathan Stout plays the intro and then goes ba 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 ba, and then everybody jumps, and that was actually Andry's idea. And also prior to that there was like this whole sequence of us just like wiggling, and then we got into a circle with all the competitors and we were all
Yeah.
like just popping off and being silly and supporting each other.
Uh,
And I have high expectations for competitions now because the level of like I think beautiful humanity and like
mm,
being there for other people and witnessing others, and I'm getting emotional.
aw.
um but support and love that was in that competition was so like just so wonderful to experience as a human and for
Mm,
some of my first competitions and stuff. And I think
mm-hmm.
like 90% of the energy like was from Andry, or maybe like 95% of the energy. And it's incredible. I just man's a community builder.
Amy, you are far too kind. I think everyone there was fuck. Now you got me all like emotional because I was gonna say because I feel like everyone because I cried after that comp.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I was like
did.
bawling, and the reason why was because of that because it was exactly what I would hope all competitions would be. Everyone was together, and I couldn't have asked to do that specific one with anyone else but you. Like
Oh.
I really couldn't. Man, we're going through all the emotions. We were like laughing, and then now we're all like emotional. And damn, but like no, you're absolutely right because I don't know, bro. I'm so glad that you were willing to do that with me and because it was just it is a highlight of my life. Like I watch that video when I get well, this is telling all, but I watch that video when I get kind of sad because then like I'm reminded of like the community and the people and what we did. Like that was huge that we were able to do exactly what we had talked about and just put what we know works and goes well into that whole comp. And that was I don't know, that was really, really special. Since we're talking about it now, since we're talking about Camp Hollywood, what was so when we were hyping everyone up and when we were like really getting people going and when we our name was called out to be the first people to start it out, what were your emotions? What were your feelings and thoughts through that moment?
Oh man. I I think that actually was a moment of like there's a lot of nuance to it because part of me wants to be like it was a moment where I was like really present and I was like in awe, but I think I
Mm-hmm.
also was like in a almost like a state of shock because there's I think like imposter syndrome so real and everything within
Mm,
dancing, and like I think it comes with the territory of it being such a low floor, high ceiling hobby where you
Mm-hmm.
like you can enter it from anywhere and be like happy and like
Yeah.
be able to access like just the hobby, but
Mm-hmm.
the like high ceiling of improvement, like you can always improve and always be better, which is
Yeah.
beautiful but sometimes so stressful.
Yeah.
So like actually being up there and um it was something that I feel like sometimes I still am in disbelief of for me personally, where I'm like, wow, I didn't know how I ended up here, but this is so freaking cool. And I'm really grateful for it. So
Yeah.
lots of like, I think shock, like presence and gratitude and
Mm.
excitement because they're just like freaking ready to just go, you know?
Yeah. And like,
Yeah.
I do have to say, when man, we're getting all, I am, fuck it. Fuck it. This is emotional because it was
Yeah.
an emotional moment for the two of us. Like
Mhm.
for me, I had, I had only seen videos of Camp Hollywood and I was like, man, all those people are up there. They're so great. And I hope that someday I can get there. And the fact that you and I got out there was, I think that speaks to our philosophy of dancing and how we approach it. And I think that shined through, you know. At some point I'm gonna have like hopefully one of the judges on there and I want to ask them about that moment, right? But I think that that was huge. And I do have to say, when I rewatch that, one of the first things that come to mind is you are fearless. You are absolutely just I didn't sense any fear, nervousness. You were completely and totally like right there present and I felt like we were right on the same wavelength, you
Yeah.
know? And like do you ever get nervous when you're dancing and stuff? I
Oh,
think I talked about this before.
absolutely.
For real?
Like, yes, absolutely. I Um, oh, I guess I've told you this before, but like,
Mhm.
I think also why like me finding swing dancing accidentally, um, and not intentionally comes from that like when I was younger, I was just made fun of like for
Mm,
like in middle school dances or in like parties where there's dancing, like I was just always teased. So I've
mhm,
like never wanted to dance, like never wanted to dance for fun. It was just
mhm,
not like something that came to mind for me.
mhm,
Um, so like I think what was so cool about swing dancing, we mentioned it being like low floor and like high ceiling, you can enter it from anywhere. There's like access to being able to start.
uh-huh,
What was really cool to me is it gave me like I guess the vocab and the tools to like try something
mm,
and also the community to support me with it.
mhm,
Um, but then I think that a lot of me like going through this swing dance journey, which sounds a little bit cheesy, is was me like actually trying to move away from making fear-based decisions and
mm,
stuff. Because I
mhm,
think a lot of, I mean, this happens with a lot of people growing up, I feel like, where when you're trying to like make decisions, oftentimes like fear is something that like shapes how we make our decision. And
yeah,
I think starting dancing really it's given me a lot of opportunities to really think about this question that my sister poses to me all the time, which
mhm,
is are the decisions you making out of fear right now or out of desire and love?
mm,
And so whenever I feel like it is based off of fear, then I feel like I it's like a good idea to kind of run towards that direction then because then like that's where the growth is. Like that's where I'm going to be a better person, you know.
yeah, 150%. That's powerful. Can you say that quote one more time? Are your decisions made out of fear or
Yeah. Are you making these decisions based out of fear or out of desire and love?
That's really powerful.
I
And so
got a good
you,
sister, you know? I got a
yeah,
smart sister.
she's pretty. Your house is awesome. I love your house, and your sister and Skylar, they're absolutely amazing. And Kata, I can't forget Kata.
Yeah. She's the smartest.
She's the smartest. Kata's Amy's niece. Um, but yeah, that quote was very powerful. So you essentially went towards that fear of dancing, and even though you're still nervous, you still attack it with courage. There's no other way to say it, with courage and bravery. Yeah,
I appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. I guess
it's
that's it.
yeah, and you. I don't think I anyone would ever guess that, because when you dance, you have like the same aura and the same atmosphere and joy that I've always wanted all the people I dance with to like have. You know what I mean? Like you embody that. You know?
Bro, the way you said that, this is supposed to be a guessing up podcast. Oh. Yo. It's a I appreciate that so much deeply. And I think that I it's hard for me to not just like reiterate what you said about your dancing. Like gen you bring so much joy. And I like, oh, Andry, so I'm crying. This podcast is all of us laughing and crying. But yeah, your joy is palpable. It's like it's immediate, and everyone can see it, and everyone can feel it when they're dancing with you.
Oh, Amy, you are so kind. It's a 50-50. You know, my partners are also like a huge part of the joy, which is why you and I partner so well and why it works so well. You know?
Yeah,
All right, are we good? Do we wipe the tears away? Are we?
yeah, we're good. We're good. Oh, you're not good, bro.
No, I'm good.
I'm
I'm
just
good, bro.
kidding.
I'm good. Dude, I was not. I knew that this was gonna be good, but damn, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's. So we talked about Camp Hollywood. We talked about like how we met and whatnot. Now, I think it's worth talking a bit more about competition, how we view competition, because I think Daphne asked us about that, and it was like I would say something and you would say something, which is was exactly what I had in mind. So I feel like that's worth sharing, you know?
Yeah.
So, well, I think you're the one who brought it up when we were in the car when you were talking about it would be nice. That's something that you came up with, yeah?
Yeah. It it also comes from teachings from my sister. So
Mm,
just in general, um one thing that my sister has taught me is that if you want to like invite and welcome things into your life, she's actually described this as um she truly believes in the power of manifestation. And she's
mm,
described this philosophy as like flirting, where
mm,
you I don't think I've told you this, but she's so the idea of like welcoming something into your life, you don't necessarily need to be um too overwhelmingly invested in it, I guess.
mm-hmm, uh-huh,
You don't in a similar way, like if you're flirting with someone, if you're like constantly texting them or like
mm,
constantly like being like, yo, what's happening? What's where you at? Um it could scare the person you're trying to flirt with
yeah,
away. But if you're too aloof, then that person might also not like feel desired. And
yeah,
so this mentality of it would be nice was one way she taught to like welcome things into your life.
mm-hmm,
And so flirting is kind of like the metaphor for it. But what I really like about it is like it's a healthy mentality for like when you are desiring something, you're still going for it.
yeah,
But it also brings you back to the present moment where you're
mm-hmm,
like, that is the thing that I desire. but I'm also genuinely happy with where I am right now. Right
Mm-hmm.
now is a great place to be, and I'm ready for more.
Mm. Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
so the it would be nice mentality comes from that. And I think with competitions, which like for me, it was something new and fresh and like
Mm.
exciting and different, and the fear that I was running towards, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the it would be nice mentality, I feel like, was so healthy for us
Mm.
because
Oh, yes.
we were able to like be present, have fun, and then like work towards something and be proud
Mm-hmm.
of something regardless of the outcome.
Mm. That's, yeah, that big whatchamacallit, clap, what have you, because that's so powerful the way that I love the way that we approached it because we literally said it would be because our goal was just to make finals, or I wouldn't say that was our goal. Our mentality was it would be nice if we made finals, but we were going to dance our dance and put ourselves out there and be proud of our dance no matter what happens. And I feel like that helped me so much because I was able to shift my mindset and I was fully able to embrace the concept that I am not the result of a competition. I am more than a
Yeah,
result of a competition.
that's right.
Yeah. And I feel like that's so, I think that's what something that Daphne was asking us was because I don't think you and I go into competition thinking, I want to beat so and so, or I want to like, fucking top the charts and all
Yeah,
that. Like,
yeah.
I think the way you and I approach it, correct me if I'm wrong, is we're just like, we want to go out there, have fun. We want to give the energy back to the people, make sure they're involved, and we want to dance like our dance, which is a dance of rooted in joy, like you said,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm. That's exactly it.
Yeah,
I
and like, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Just like think adding to your point, I think like what we do is showing up fully and complete as our authentic selves. And that's
Mm.
part of it. Um yeah, you continue. You're in a role.
Well, the authentic self is very true because I think that for us, our friendship, our siblinghood, it goes farther than just like being dance partners because without going into details, like you've shown up for me when I was not doing great. This is like non-dance related. Like when I was just sad, I'll tell Amy like I'm fucking sad and I'm really, really upset and stuff. And she was there, she listened, and she's when I've told her things, opinions about myself that were disparaging, um, she would like counter back. She wouldn't be afraid. You wouldn't be afraid to say, I would challenge that. I think you used that word. I would challenge that, or I don't know if that's true. And then you would explain your side, and that would open up my mind. And the same way, again, without going into details, but we've shown up for each other. Yeah,
Oh, you've absolutely shown up for me. Like
yeah.
in so many capacities. I what I really appreciate is with you in particular too is, again, I think the word intention has come up a lot, like
Mm,
how intentional you are. Like
mhm.
if you ever go to Andry's house or like his place of living, you can see that he has these posters with quotes from different like various books written up on the board. And he's always like trying to be the best version of himself and show up as the best version of himself for those around him. And I think that he's an incredibly intelligent man and has like all of these wonderful processes to support people, and um more than enough times the advice that you've given or like frameworks for how to approach other people and support them have been so helpful for me, and I use them now. I like the questions that you ask people when they're not feeling good, like, how can I support you right now? Do you need a distraction? Do you need somebody to listen, or do you want advice? Like such a good I use that with students now, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's so good.
Damn, I didn't know. You didn't tell me that you use that on your
Yeah,
students.
sorry, I just stole it.
Oh man, that's so heartwarming and that's an honor. That's an absolute honor. If anyone is curious what those questions are, I read this in a book. I forget which book, but the questions are the first question when someone is having difficulty is I ask, do you want my perspective, advice, or what was it? Do you
A
want me to?
distraction.
Oh, that's it. Do you
Yeah.
want me to just listen, offer my perspective advice, or do you need a distraction? Right. And the second question I ask is, how can I stand by you and support you as you're going through this? Because then that gives them the autonomy to understand that yes, they're going through that and they know what to do, but they're not alone. Right. That's damn. Ah
It's
man,
so
I feel
good. Like,
yeah.
I actually remember showing up to one practice and I don't remember being in a good headspace. I forgot why. But you said that to me and I was like, I just need to I needed to not think about this, any distraction. And you're like, let's dance, let's just go off, you know? And that was a
Mm,
perfect thing for me. So
mm,
really appreciate it. On, I guess, um, on another occasion, I do remember, I think like I need to take care of my body because I remember being so freaking hungry. And then I think like
mm,
the drive to Atomic was like frustrating with due to traffic or something like that. Oh,
mm,
yeah. I like got redirected a bunch of ways and that made, I think, put me in like this heightened state where I was
mm,
like very out of sorts. And I remember showing up to Atomic and I like actually was in tears at the
mm,
door, but
mm,
having you and Jet and Jungle just there for
mm,
me and immediately hugging me, I felt so supported. And then
mm.
getting food after was really helpful. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Uh,
lovely.
Now I do have to say that particular instance, right? Uh, I don't know if you know, but Mishu actually reached out to me and he said, "Hey, can you do something for me? Can you get Amy some food?" Right?
Oh, yes.
And
Yes, yes.
so he was able to help. Actually, Mishu also helps me because I text him a lot of deep stuff, and we have these long conversations just about life and just anything. And so I think a lot about those things thanks to your partner. Yeah. And so like I don't know. I think at the end of the day, I'm very grateful that I'm partnering with someone who cares equally as much about me as they do about like the dancing. You know, well, no, that's actually not true. I care about you more than I do about our dance partnership and dancing. Like you as a person. I think that's a true thing. And I think we both really show up for each other, which is it's nice.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there is there's something beautiful in how we recognize each other's humanity often. It's
Mm,
more than just the dance. The dance is a
yeah.
beautiful way for us to connect, but it's not like the entirety of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
a
yeah.
whole experience.
I feel like dance connected us, and then things that we're very similar in a lot of ways. Like we show up to Atomic wearing like matching outfits without talking to each other a good amount of the time,
Yeah.
and then we both have like similar mannerisms. There are similar like Filipino things, like pointing with
Mhm.
your lips, like that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, our backgrounds
Our
and
backgrounds and
stuff.
stuff. It's crazy, and I think dancing like initiated that connection, but now it's more than that. Oh, speaking of connection, we do have to bring up Jaja as
Oh,
well.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
A good segue too with this. So that's, oh man, I guess that is a story to start us with.
Oh well, because like
Yeah.
I feel like that type of care, it's not just we share that for each other, but we're lucky that our friend group also has that has that caring mentality. And so for those of you who don't know, Jaja, well, you explain. You're the guest on the podcast. What's Jaja?
Um, we describe this as yeah, is this like the
Ja-
quadruple partnership? Would you describe it? Is
oh
that
yeah, that would be
kind of?
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Jaja.
Jaja, yeah.
Yeah, we mentioned other partners. Did you talk about your other partners?
I did not. I
Yeah,
can talk
wait,
about
can you
that
talk
later.
about wait, talk about your other partners too, so
Okay,
that we
okay,
can like
okay. I mean, my other partners are uh, Amy, and then there's Jungle, who her name is Christina Jungle, but we just call her Jungle. And then there is Stephanie Kwan, right? Stephanie Kwan lives out in Denver, and so she and I partner, and she's pretty great. I think you three are the ones who I've competed with, but I am also practicing a ton with Jennifer Wang and Maggie Lee. And so, as far as partnership goes, that's me.
yeah.
And see, I'm not like Amy. I'm not a triple threat. I only do
No, that's
Lindy
not
Hop.
true. That's not true.
She does
It's
Lindy
not.
Hop, Balboa, and Shag. And
I do not.
I like to joke that I'm SoCal's threat and a half. I do Lindy Hop and half of Balboa.
Yo.
But those, yeah, those are my, I would say those are my partners. And like it's it's fun because, well, yeah, it's fun because with Jet, I remember when Jungle and Jet were practicing a ton, and then you and I would practice, and then we'd like switch, right? You would
hmm
practice with Jet for Bal, and I would practice with Jungle, and that's where Jaja comes from, is that whole
Yes.
name, right?
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
really I love this little like subgroup, I think, in particular. And it's kind of really neat. I think there's overlapping like ways we approach the dance and also how we dance overlaps in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Um which is cool. And I think we just get along and there's a lot of really fun like group dynamics in that way. And someday we're gonna do a frog choreo. Someday.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. It's already been, the song has been picked, the moves have been set. We're just trying to find the right time to do it. And it would be Jungle, Jungle, Amy, Jet, and Andry, like the four of us. So I'm really, really
Dude,
excited.
have you seen like so like I think this is a TikTok trend or something, but like have you seen Frog and Toad Are Friends, the old
Oh
children's
yeah.
book?
Yeah.
There have been like I don't know if that you describe them as like Gen Zers who are their Halloween costumes were Frog and Toad.
Hmm.
And it's just super cute. And I think all of us have like and brown and green things. So
Yeah,
we don't need to be like fully dressed like frogs, but we could look like Frog and Toad.
bro.
You know?
Are
It'd
we
be
also
really
doing
cute
the
for it.
green hats?
We could.
Yeah, that would
Yeah, we
be
could.
that would be so fun. I'm so excited for that. Now that HRH is done, actually, I think everyone kind of has a bit more time to
Yeah.
focus on that routine. So we might start ramping that up again. So that's Jaja, and we talked about the competition and stuff. But we talked about a lot of good stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like we could have talked about a ton of other stuff, but then we probably would have started all getting teary eyed and stuff
We already
again.
did. Which is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my thought. We can actually start winding down. Were there any topics that you wanted to talk about, or like something that was really cool to you about our partnership?
Ooh. Um, any topics that I'd like to talk about? Yeah, I guess like we talked about how we listen to music. What I
Hmm.
think would be cool is first I want to brag about how again Andry's a really cool community builder. At the end of Lindy Groove every Thursday, he brings the Lindy Groove scene and he does like this really dope like not Lindy Hop dance that's almost like a line dance that he leads. He's a certified Zumba teacher. And, um, yeah, okay. So like I'm really curious about how your dancing is informed by other spheres of music and other dances. So what are other things you bring to your dancing outside of the world of swing dancing?
Bro, you're the guest on my podcast. You're asking me a question. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So how how music informs. I'll say this. When it comes to Lindy Hop, right? The music just makes sense to me. The 8/8s, the way it's counted, how you can throw 6 count in there. I don't know why, but it makes sense to me. I think that my background, having grown up in Cameroon and Kenya, which if you didn't know, anyone who's listening, I'm from Madagascar, but my crazy is kind of life. My life is kind of crazy because I was born in Madagascar, but I grew up in Cameroon and Kenya. And so growing up in Cameroon and Kenya, I was exposed to a lot of drum based music, right? So music that had that da, da, do, da, do, da, da, do, da. Like
Ooh,
that
that's
drum.
hype.
I know, right? And
Yeah.
that drum bass, and my friends and I used to dance to that kind of stuff, and just growing up in that environment, being surrounded by music, because uh, in West Africa, in East Africa, I was only there for 2 years, but in West Africa, I spent a lot of my time. Music is so deeply ingrained in the culture. And so anytime there was a celebration, there was music. When I was going to church, going up and giving offering, you had to like do like this step touch all the way up. And it was kind of
Wow.
funny. Oh, it was dope. I don't think I ever told you that, did I?
No, you haven't yet.
Yeah, so rhythm was always a thing growing up for me. And it was so interesting watching people that were not part of that culture or weren't like that ingrained, how everyone else would just be dancing up. It'd be like you would see everyone dancing on beat to it. And then you'd see like the other people or the missionaries just like walking and standing, not really fully getting into it, which is nothing wrong with that. But it just shows, I think, the difference in how built into the culture music was for me. And so when I think of Lindy Hop, when I think of like external dances, I think less of what I'm doing and more of what people are feeling.
Mm,
Because it's kind of like when you talk to people, people remember how you make them feel and less of what you're saying, right?
yeah.
And so when the Lindy Groove thing happened, it was an accident, but I just remember it being like such a feel good thing. And eventually it became like a Lindy Groove thing, right? And where every time we pick a song, we're very intentional about picking a song that doesn't have like an attitude or doesn't have any that has a sense of joy in it. Where if you listen to it, you're like, oh yeah, this is a bop. I really want to keep this going type thing, you know? And I don't know. That's how I think that if I were to summarize all that up, my music, the way my music and my music experience has shaped my Lindy Hop is I focus more on how people feel from the music and the movement than I do about the steps or the shapes. Now I'm saying that, but one of my goals for this year is actually to work a bit more on shapes and lines and stuff because I kind of low key kind of want to look like Patrick Stefanoff someday.
Yeah, me too. I also want to look like Patrick Steph. Mind
which by
check?
which by the way, I think he's gonna be on this podcast someday. One of these days we're gonna have another one of our San Diego things and we're just gonna do the podcast and everyone's gonna be all together. It's gonna
Oh,
be
heck yeah. Just let's do it in my room.
bro, it's gonna be wild and it's gonna be so chaotic. It's gonna be amazing.
It'll be so good.
Yeah. But dude, that was such a good question. You're the first person in the podcast who asked me, well, no, Grace and Blake asked me some questions.
Ooh, I
But
can't wait to listen
bro,
to. Oh,
I don't think that's gonna come out because I the audio fucked up. I fucked it
you
up.
okay, you gotta do another one. Grace and Blake, this is your formal invitation to round two of Andry's podcast.
Either that or I guess I could hire like a professional audio engineer to fix it
Hmm. Yeah,
because
yeah.
maybe they can do that, but that costs
There's
money.
probably
So
somebody there's probably somebody
yeah.
in the swing
I
dance community.
I was actually thinking about making this the first episode and then later on releasing the one with Blake and Grace after someone like has fixed the audio.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Now we talked about all of that Awesome stuff. So this is where we're going to start winding down the episode.
Okay.
I have just 3 questions that I had mentioned. So the first one is, what events are you planning to go to this year?
Ooh, I think I've gone to most of them already, actually. No, I haven't. Um, well, I think I might go to Badass Bell,
Nice.
actually, because my partner, the amazing physicist Mishu Khan, lives in Phoenix. Um, and so I might go there. I am thinking about Northwest Bow Fest, kind of
Mm-hmm.
on this bow grind. Um, and I also am definitely going to Camp Hollywood. So those are the events that I have lined up in my head right now. There are things on my radar because they just sound interesting.
Mm.
Like Beantown sounds interesting. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know when it is. um there was something in July. Oh, that was Northwest Belfast. Yeah. Yeah. Those are the events that I'm thinking about. How about okay. Can
Mm.
I ask you too?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay. What are
Uh,
the events you're going to?
so I was gonna go to Lindy Fest, but that's no longer happening, unfortunately. I was gonna go hang out with the Florida people in Mishu, but it's a sad day. The events right now I'm fully going to go is DCL. Nope, I'm not going to DCLX. Did I tell you? I'm not going to DCLX because I'm going to Coachella.
Ooh, yeah, dude. That's dope.
Yeah, that'll be a vibe. So I'm going to Coachella. Art, and then that's not an event, but there's this event called St. Louis Get Down, the
Ooh.
Gateway Get Down. So yeah, there might be some announcements later on about that, which I have to talk to you about here in a little bit. And then Camp Jitterbug, definitely going to, and then Camp Hollywood because Amy and I are doing the comps
Whoop
again.
whoop.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Lindy Autonomous Zone, and then maybe Snowball with Paul
Ooh.
Riding and Andrea and
Yo.
Jake.
Oh, that sounds so fun. Someday. Someday for me.
Someday we'll make it
Mhm.
happen. But yeah, those are the events. And so the other question I was going to ask is if people wanted to like find out more about you or see some of your dance videos and whatnot, where would they find that info?
If you're already following Andry at Andry Dances 2 on Instagram, you can find me tagged in his bio as Amy Dances 2. uh, maybe someday I'll talk about this too, but I'm currently taking a social media break, so I'm not on there as often. But I want to pop on and occasionally post things and occasionally connect. Um, I also have a Instagram with my sister called Grace and Joy Music with some of our
Yeah,
singing songwriting. We have really old songs from the pandemic there, so ignore those. But I have that also. Yeah.
yeah. Everyone should also know that Amy's an incredibly talented singer. She plays guitar, ukulele, she plays voice as well.
Yeah. Slay.
And so she's very, very talented and a great singer. We jammed that one time and that was dope.
That was really fun. At my house? Was that the
Yeah,
engagement party? Yeah, that was
yes.
fun.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. So the last thing that we wanted to talk about is um, this is a question I ask at the end of all my podcasts. What is a message you want to leave for Lindy Hoppers that are listening?
Um, a message I want to leave to all indie hoppers is that I okay, I did think about this. The
Mm,
first part is gonna sound all wacky,
uh-huh.
but I will try to cycle back to make it make sense. But ultimately, this entire dance is made up, is
Mm,
my message. And that you can like be historical and learn all of these wonderful things. But at the end of the day, it's about joy and being silly and creating things with
mm,
you, the music, and your partner, or just
mm.
you. And like whether or not it's quote unquote right is really up to you. I think if it feels good, if it's something that makes you happy, if it's something that brings joy to you, then that's how, like, you're doing it right.
Well said. Well said. Amy, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. I'll stop the recording, but don't go anywhere. I want to
All
chat with
right.
you real quick after. Everyone, thank you so much for hopping on. This was the SoCal Summer Swing Out podcast with Andry and Amy. If you want to follow more, we're going to be on Spotify. We're going to be on Instagram, all the things. So, Amy, thank you so much. Everyone else, we'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.